Hello again, Taylor County. I'm Alex Redmond with Unleashed Tiger, and I'm here with Amy Summers, running the incumbent for the House of Delegates 49th District. Amy, thank you for coming on the program.
You're glad to be here.
Great. Hey, what a time to be in the legislature today for what's happened over the year, and we're going to get to some of that. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, this isn't your first term, of course, and so campaigning. But I'm going to spend a little bit about what have you learned that through this campaign, but certainly through your time in the legislature that you maybe just didn't know. I mean, what are you hearing from people or in your process as a delegate that's changed your mind or been some new information to you that you really didn't know going in?
What I didn't know going in is that it's a lengthy process to get things done, and when people want to change, they want it now. You saw that like when the teachers came down, right? They wanted something changed immediately, and it's a really slow process for 134, 135, counting the governor, to get on board to one idea, and sometimes it takes multiple sessions to get ideas across and vet a whole issue and get things accomplished.
Yeah, that makes sense. What would you like, I'm sure, as you travel around or in your office you hear calls or folks coming up to you with maybe unrealistic expectations for what a delegate can actually accomplish or what's in your sphere of influence even. And so I would ask, is there anything, being in a republic is not a spectator sport. So let's turn the tables on the folks at home. What is something are you hearing that people say, hey, Amy, can you do this? But really, that's not even within the realm of a delegate. Is there anything like that you hear out there that you'd like to take an opportunity now?
Well, people do talk to you about federal issues, like they're worried about their Social Security. They'd like to have a raise on that. And I will tell them that that's a federal issue, not a state issue, but I am more than willing to relay that to the federal representatives for them, to at least pass the information on. They might ask you city or county issues that you need to talk to those people. So what I usually do is just refer them to the person that's appropriate that they should talk to.
Gotcha. And going a little further then, what is the one thing that the single most important thing you could ask of the citizens in your district to do to help you be successful in your office?
I would just ask that they contact me, that they come talk to me. I don't know what they're thinking if they don't talk to me. The other night on First Friday, like I had an open house, people aren't really coming in. They talk a lot around, but don't really talk to you sometimes about solving issues. What are their concerns? How do they think we could fix them? Just better communication. Or if there's a bill they don't like, email me, text me, let me know how you feel when the votes are going on or when the issues. So they have to be informed, I guess, to know the process and then give you their input.
Yeah, that's great. And we've done this program, I don't know how many election cycles, and that is almost, I ask this question a different way every time, and that is almost always the answer. We need to know. We need to hear from you. So please, at home, hear this. That's the kind of, it's a representative republic, and you are our representative in this district. So getting that being informed and then also engaging is absolutely critical. And to that point, public service is really hard. I don't have to tell you now, right? But is there something, why are you doing this? Is there something you'd like to see finished? Why are you continuing down this obviously hard path to be a public servant in the state of West Virginia?
I guess you just feel compelled to help other people and help our state. Like you want to see things be better. And if you sit on the sidelines all the time, you don't have the power or the impact to do that. So sometimes you just have to say, I'm going to do it. Exactly. And I feel like the state of West Virginia is really moving in a good direction. So I thought about not running this time, but then I also thought there's still so many things that need to be done, and I feel like we're on a good path, so I decided I better stay in it a little longer.
Yeah, makes sense. So this question's kind of convoluted, so I'll throw it out there and then we'll clean it up and shape it up. But many, as you know, we poll the folks of the county and surrounding of questions they might have for you and other candidates and just general questions around their government. And it's really clear that a lot of folks believe there's a lack of quality and proactive leadership at the state level. And I guess so I would ask you, what is your leadership philosophy? And that's the big question. But what I mean by that is, how do you stay ahead and informed and be proactive? What's the decision-making process you go through in terms of your voting rationale, making priorities, what measurements you use to make sure you're accomplishing those things? I mean, that's what I'm asking about, and we can certainly break that up some. But really, from a leadership philosophy standpoint, how would you articulate yours?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I was really honored to be put in leadership position just in my second year there. I was already asked to serve in the leadership, and I was even asked to run for the Speaker of the House. So people think I'm doing something right, my coworkers, on getting people to really look at issues, really listen. First of all, I say, what are the problems that need fixed? How can we fix it? What are the different ideas? Get speakers in, like when we're in session, when we're in interim meetings, to educate us, because we are all citizen legislators and don't have knowledge base in all areas. For example, people ask me healthcare questions, I'll ask educators education questions, I'll ask business owner business questions, but we all have to have a basic understanding of it, just like all the energy issues that are going on, coal, natural gas. We have to have the experts come in. So identify the issues, listen and learn what possible solutions could be, and then formulate those into legislation if laws need to change. Sometimes laws don't need to change and it's just what your community's doing or a business is doing. But if there's a law that needs changed, figure out what it is and then implement it.
Now, in these cycles, these delegate cycles, 2-year cycles, so they're short, but if we sit down in 2 years, if you're fortunate enough to win re-election, and we sit down 2 years from now, what is it that you'd like to say, I've accomplished this?
Well, what I can say for now is I'm so happy on some things I've accomplished, and it's really, the issues change each year, right, in the state, like what's going on, the issues change. But I would like to, in the future, continue to see our economy grow, continue to have people want to come to West Virginia, have jobs for them, let them see how great our state is and why they want to live here, which we're doing that in one way by improving our tourism industry. People come and they stay a weekend and then they like it, and then next thing you know, they're looking at property, but they have to have a job. I mean, they can't just live here unless they're a retiree. So they have to have jobs, they have to have abilities to make money. So we're really working towards, and this is an ongoing thing that I want to see get better, is diversifying the economy more. I was excited in the last year or so. We're seeing aeronautical increase, we're seeing automotive increase, we're seeing manufacturing with Procter & Gamble increasing. What we're not necessarily seeing is our little town attracting those things, and that's going to take harder work from the local area, and making our area a place that people want to come and do that. But we're getting it close by enough that people can drive, but we need it we need it to cross our borders into our town.
Yep. And you're touching on something I'm actually going to get to later, but I want to go ahead and pull it in now, is the idea you mentioned, bringing business into Grafton and into your district, Taylor County and the broader area. There's some sentiment out there that's important, and we need to attract business in, but there's also this idea of growing our own and entrepreneurialism and more than just lip service, and folks at home feel a lot like there's a lot of lip service being said for growing our local businesses, but there isn't a lot happening, and I guess I would ask you, what do you what is there that you might be able to do or you see happening that can be maybe some solace to folks at home that are trying to grow their businesses?
We have to keep our businesses that we have, and a lot of things the business owners will say to us is like the government gets in the way of us being successful. There's so many hoops to jump through to even just get a business license. The last couple of years, our new Secretary of State has changed that, like the one-stop business shop, trying to make it easier to even start a business. And locally, they've been holding classes to try to help people. What is it to start a business? How do we do that? When I talk to different businesses, I meet with a lot of them. Went down to Rexide, did a tour. What's working for you? What isn't? What can the state do? Because this is from the state standpoint. And just different laws that hinder them. When I met with Builder Supply, called me. There was something with their weights and measures that was going to change. We got that stop that was going to impede them. Other people, their inventory, like they'll buy a piece of equipment that they need just in case something happens, and they have to keep that inventory and pay a tax on that. Even though they already bought it, paid sales tax, now they have to pay an inventory tax because they want to be able to, if they need to do it, something or use that, they have it. So a lot of things like that. It's just like government and regulations are in the way. We want to make things safe as far as regulatory, but not so burdensome and unnecessary. So we're trying to remove those things at the state level, which comes down and impacts our small businesses here.
Yeah, it's a great point. And one more plug out to communicating to any representative you have, because sometimes a lot of neat ideas get cooked up down in the echo chamber that is Charleston, but the impact of that sometimes isn't seen, and folks need to be reaching out and saying, this is how this impacts me, and it gives somebody like yourself to be able to say, whoa, wait a minute, there's collateral damage to this idea that sounds good down here that doesn't necessarily play out well. So I again, more plug. That's part of what we're trying to do here is engage. So
and
it's really
like
important.
you said, the engagement requires the people to do
That's
it.
right. That's
You
right.
have to. Other companies here have reached out to me. Tesla wanted to come to West Virginia, right? That sounds like a good thing. Like we want another business to come here. But what they wanted to do was they didn't want to follow the laws and the business model that the state of West Virginia has set up. That Toothman Ford, who is a big business here. So I listened to their concerns, and then I actually, fought against that, which, that's not something Republicans usually do, but it was going to hurt our local business because they didn't want to follow the laws. They wanted to set up a new model, and that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair to our business here. And the funeral homes reached out to me as well and said, we're having a real problem with indigent population in our state and in our county. We need to bury these people, the state, and we're running out of money. So funeral homes will sometimes do that for nothing, and that's hurting their business. So one of the owners here locally said to me, I got an idea. And we met and we took that idea and we made that into law, where people that died that had no resources could also be cremated. The law just allowed them to be buried. It cost double the money. Okay. So if somebody doesn't have an issue with cremation, then that's something they should be able to do. And the funeral home said, I can service twice the number of people. So they had a great idea. We worked together and we put that forward, and that's really going to help poor people's families in this community.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What do you see as the biggest challenge that you, or your challenger if they were to win, what do you see the biggest challenge facing the delegate from our district here?
The biggest challenge for us is that we want some of this prosperity that's going on around the state to come to our area. And so how do we sell that area, and how do we make that, from the state standpoint, like I'm just trying to make it easier, but how do you get people locally to go out and grab? Because I'm in Charleston so much, it's hard to be local, making time to interview businesses and get them to come here and sell what we have. So we have Economic Development Authority here now that's up and running, and hoping that they can be doing that for us. And if they need anything from me, or if a business comes to them, or a person even, and says, I don't want to move to your town, I don't, something about your school system, something about any concerns that they have, relay those to me, then I can say, is there anything we can do on a state level to change that? What's going on that they don't like? So
yeah, I hear from incumbents all the time around these election cycles that the challenger, the things they're saying sound good, but you really can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. And so I ask you, with your challenger, where might he be innovative? Where might he really have some great ideas versus where might he be misinformed?
I can't really address my challenger very much. I don't know the person very well. So.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Lastly, what I say before we wrap up for now, as a voter, and I come through, why should I vote to put Amy Summers back in the House for our district?
I hope that people will vote for me because they think I'm doing a good job, that their life is a little bit better, or they feel a little bit more hopeful in our state, that things are starting to turn around, and we are starting to diversify our economy a little bit more. We were able, for the first time in many, many years, to give the state workers pay raises without raising everybody else's taxes. Like, we're being fiscally responsible with the money that we have that's coming in to provide for all the people of West Virginia. So I hope that they feel hopeful for that, and they think I'm making a difference in their life.
Great. Amy Summers, delegate for the 49th District. This will end part one. Stay tuned for part two coming soon. Thank you.